All right, guys, welcome to the Scarred Thumb Podcast. Let's just check the audio levels. It looks like we're good. How's it going, guys? Welcome. Good to see you, old. Let's say your name, damn it. You're not getting me again, Boo. Good old Boo. You're not getting me twice. Jack, good to see you. I've liked the video. Good job, Jack. Everyone got to do your part. Be sure to like the video. Good morning, Deborah. Good to see you. As always, let's get right into it. This is from Game Dev Cuts, not Cucks. This is from a stream, like a development stream from Jonathan Blow here, and let's just get right into it.
So one of the problems that we see most commonly, so it depends who you're trying to hire, right? So let's say I interview someone who had a job at another well-known game company, for example, which I've done a number of times, right? Usually I talk to this person lately, and this is only a problem since, like, let's say 2020 or something. Usually I talk to this person, they have good references. Somebody at the company's like,
this is 2020. Notice COVID. I think this ruined a lot of goodwill between people and companies. I know, at least speaking for myself, this is when I realized that you mean absolutely nothing to your employers. Like, that just became patently obvious when you just nonstop, like, torturous, especially during like COVID, where I had to like constantly wear a mask, and then the times afterwards where it's like, oh, you don't want to get vaccinated, you can't use the lunch break room, where you can't go to any sort of events, or a Christmas party, outdoor Christmas party. One of the companies I used to work at called Arthrex wouldn't let you go. It's an outdoor Christmas party, but if you're not vaccinated, you can't go. That's the type of pressure that they put on people that weren't vaxxed. And this is when you just realize that, holy crap, these people are scum, like the people you work for. So, but I mean, this is sort of unrelated to this tangent, but 2020 was definitely an onward. You just realize the working relationship between the employer and employee just became so sour. I'm not surprised that this was one of the big turning points.
oh yeah, this person did this cool thing for this game, right? I'm thinking of some specific examples. And then I talk to the person and it's like, yeah, this guy didn't really do very much, and I can tell that by talking to him. Like, by the standards that I grew up in, this guy doesn't do very much every day. He might think that he does a reasonable amount of work, but like, it's not enough to make a game if those are the people that you have, right? So, in a lot of companies, it's this thing where there's this saying that's roughly true. The square root of the number of employees does, 90% of the work or something, or effectively all of the work.
And this is like typical Pareto principle, which just happens naturally in a lot, like any group. But and also, I did want to mention, if you don't know who Jonathan Blow is, he's kind of famous for making Braid, which was like a puzzle game using time, but it was really one of the first like breakout indie game hits. It was back, I think, in 2008, and it was one of the first games where it's like that kind of showed people the way that, hey, you can become rich. It is possible to become rich. You're kind of making your own game type of thing. So a lot of like indie devs, like, really, he's a big inspiration to a lot of them.
I think that's usually true, but in the games industry, just that phenomenon is way worse than it ever was. And so most people we talk to just haven't done that much work and don't do that much work, but they think that they're doing fine. And if I said, hey, I don't think you do very much, they might be offended, right? Because they've grown up in these big cushy environments where, so there's been this whole thing, there's been all these political ramifications and all these things, like in the same way that everybody goes overboard about everything, right? Back some years ago, there was some controversy, early to mid 2010s. There was some controversy in the games industry about studios that crunched too much and it sort of, put employees in abusive situations or whatever you want to say. And that definitely happens sometimes, right? I don't think it was ever the majority of the industry, but there were some places that were notorious for that. And game journalists made a big stink about it before everybody realized how seemingly uninterested in accuracy game journalists have become. And then all these studios are like, no, we're progressive, nice, good people. So they way overcorrected on this. And so there was this culture of like, oh, if people don't really work that much, that's fine, because we're not a mean employer or whatever, right? And
there you have like games journalists, along with, I assume, like a lot of people coming in just wussifying, chickifying the work environment, where it's like, oh, you can't be mean, you can't crunch. I mean, I'm sure some of those tales that they tell about video game development do seem awful, where it's like people sleeping. I mean, the one Metal Slug guy famously like slept under his desk, the artist for Metal Slug. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know if he was like, they told him, like made him crunch, but he did that. And of course, he ended up making, probably one of the most beautiful looking arcade games. Still to this day, people look at it as an example of just, just the beauty that can come out of these graphics. And I think one thing that was, of course, journalists being the, like, as he says, like the nice progressives that aren't really worried about accuracy, kind of they don't bring up is that, sometimes to make some of these creative works, you do need to crunch. You do need to like really focus on it. And you can even tell like some of the games like Half-Life and stuff, where people just working and working and working. They have that really real passion for this stuff. And sometimes that involves like working a lot of hours. I think one of the issues though is that now that you have this sort of like large system, these large, as you mentioned, these like large environments, it's very easy to sort of not work. It's very easy to kind of be detached from the success of the project when it's not, like 12 guys kind of working to get this done, and, everyone will potentially benefit. Or, you got something like Hollow Knight where it's like 3 guys and they're probably like all millionaires for it. Like the guys from like Subnautica, I think it was like 2 or 3 people that made that, they got getting bought out, getting paid like $25 million to make a game. I mean, there's that having that kind of benefit, that kind of reward potentially does make a huge difference versus like the usual corporate, like you get a salary and that's it. I mean, there is layers to it.
And that works as long as you're in, easy times when the money just falls on you, right? But people may know that starting, in late 2023, it became really hard times in the games industry. And that's why all these companies have been having layoffs.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like, hey, when the money's good, when you're getting, this is always the thing, like all of that like stimulus crap, you kept saying, like, did that actually go to like any blue collar workers? Probably not. We get like a stimmy check, but you don't really see any benefit. Meanwhile, you have these white collar fake email jobs that end up, just being produced out of nowhere that probably don't do anything. It's like, oh, some cushy job for somebody, that's rich parents, that, oh, I went to game college. And now they come out, and then all of a sudden 2023 hits, like, oh, wait, there's no money left? Oops. I guess you got to go.
There were new layoffs even announced in the past couple of days, right? It's we'll
talk about those
harder
later.
Times, right? And so decisions that you made back when times were easy are not appropriate when times are hard, right? But the problem is if you lost your talent base because nobody remembers how to do that, like work for real, your whole industry now has a problem, right? Have I considered that my expectations are too high? No. And here's the reason why. If you say, oh, dude, your expectations are too high, blah, 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 and you staff the entire game industry with the people who I'm talking about, you will, that if that happens, then the peak of video games was at least 5 years ago. You will never again have games as good as what we had 5-10 years ago.
That's great. I think he's 100% right about that. It's crazy. Like, if you don't have that kind of culture where it's like, hey, we're going to make something great. We're going to make, have a culture where people like really want to make video games. I think this what happens when you have these large corporations just bring in people that don't really believe in it. It's like a cultural thing to them. And I don't want to harp on women too much, but this is, I think, what happens when you get a lot of women in the workplace. It's not about making something great. It's about, going to a job. Like, I work in this field, it's not like I made this.
Ever. Forget a growing industry. Forget an industry that creates new things. It's done. It's done. Okay. Are we talking about not enough?
It's basically saying, hey, it's done if we don't get. So maybe this is necessary. Maybe the layoffs. Journalists might complain about layoffs, and Geoff Kelly or whatever his name is. What's Geoff's last name? At the Video Game Awards, oh, we've had layoffs. It's too bad. It's too bad that this might be like a purge that is necessary to get the sort of losers that don't want to do real work out of the industry. I know I have to go and work 8 to 10 hours every day. Are these guys going?
Enough work in terms of number of hours spent, or because they're not accomplishing much by being inefficient with their time? Well, some combination of both. Like, I don't tend to have visibility into how many hours a day a person worked at a company or pretended to work at a company, right? But all I can do, the perspective that I have is I look at their resume and it's like, I spent 2 or 3 years at this company on these projects. And I'm said, okay, let's talk about what you did. And what they have to say about what they did is usually not very much for 2 or 3 years of time. And so what is the cause of that? I don't know, because, I don't have visibility into their day to day, but probably it's usually a mixture of all these things. They don't really work a full work day, and they're very inefficient with their time when they're supposedly working a full work day. They need Pomodoro every 15 minutes. So they watch YouTube videos. So they only end up working 2 hours a day, like whatever. I don't know, but it's
crazy. The idea, like, I could just watch YouTube videos at my desk. But I mean, this does happen in a lot of big corporations. It happens at smaller ones too, to be honest, where it's just like, some guy, watching YouTube videos. I mean, even like some like the big manufacturing jobs I've had, there's just days when you just don't have work, and they want you to sort of like do some like busy work, or like some rearranging stuff. Like, you have to kind of like look busy. I mean, I've had those days, but it's it's crazy, the idea that you could like just like, that's your job. It's like, you go in, you sit at a desk, maybe you do some like work, do a little programming, you have like a little project, and watch some YouTube videos, work on a little bit. Everyone's seen those TikToks. Everyone's seen those TikTok videos where it's like the woman, like, here's my day in my life at Google, where it's like, oh, I go in, I get a snack, I go to the meditation chamber, I do some exercise, I go to a meeting, and like some chamber, go back to a chamber, oh, have a lunch break, do another meeting, do about an hour of writing, and then oh, my day's done. It just goes on and on like that. And that's, unfortunately, when I think when you're making video games, you have to actually produce something at the end of it. I think this is what Jonathan's running into, is there's guys and gals that don't have much to show for it after 2 or 3 years.
It's very consistent. It's hard to find people who aren't in that mode when we're hiring. You don't want to work more than 8 hours. I don't ask people to work more than 8 hours, right? 8 hours, I think, is a full work day. Good luck finding people who work 5 hours or 4 hours. It's hard.
That's crazy. That's crazy that you can't find people that work 8 hours a day.
It's really hard. People don't seem to understand what an emergency this is, right? I think there's a very big divide in like blue collar jobs where somebody absolutely has to be there doing the thing or it doesn't get done, right? People are working full work days. But in these like white collar jobs with like quasi fake email jobs and all that, like the amount of, even of the fake work, the amount of work that people do is just going down over time. And what happens is companies don't really know how productive people are supposed to be. Like I don't tend to happens is companies don't really know how productive people are supposed to be.
That's crazy. I mean, like for me, and I think
The way
most people here, at least I have to work sort of a blue collar job where it's like, hey, I got to get to these places. I got to get this done. And if I don't, well, I'm in trouble. It's pretty obvious that I didn't do anything. So the fact that to me, it is kind of a crazy, and those are the kind of jobs I've worked my entire life. So it's crazy to think that you can kind of be stuck in these jobs where you could actually like, get away with doing like 2 to 4 hours of work and getting paid for an 8 hours a day. It's nuts.
No, is by observing it. They look at the better people and the worse people and ask the worst people to be like the better people. That's like the only way that you know your target productivity. And so if that's declining over time, then the company's expectations just decline over time and it'll become unable to do very much and it'll die and it won't even understand why. It won't even understand that it's due to like productivity dropping over time. I mean, if everything else were static and people wanted to be honest and diagnose this, then you could tell. But situations are complicated. Often the people managing or working don't want to diagnose this, right?
Exactly. This has always killed me, where it's like the people in upper management, they don't want to do it. And I think HR has become like a big issue with that, where like you just can't be direct, you can't be mean. So even like the upper management, rather than saying, "Hey, you're being lazy," like you need to pick it up and do something. They're worried that if they're too harsh, a girl cries at them, or oh, he said this to me and it made me feel bad, that they're going to get in trouble. So it always ends up like the productive people, the manager would much rather just throw more work to them rather than get into conflict. That might, be detrimental to them if they go above him.
Their incentive is not to. And situations are changing enough from year to year that you're not making an apples to apples comparison anyway. People don't believe in the country anymore. When that happens, they stop working. I think that is an aspect of it. It's not just believing in the country, but believing that your life has a purpose, believing that there's a reason to work because it's contributing to something.
And this is kind of an interesting point he brings up. Like, is the sort of like left-wing nihilism that's pervasive, that especially in the games industry, is that contributing to the lack of quality? The fact that a lot of people there's just such a cynicism and a nihilism in that culture that they just don't believe in making stuff anymore. That they don't believe, it's doing anything. If climate change is going to destroy the entire world, is it worth it? Is it worth doing something? I don't know. Maybe.
As opposed to just like pretending to work to take.
But I also think that, and I don't know if Jonathan Blow really goes into it. It's also that I think, and this is some in some ways like just the corporate managerial structure in general has become so dehumanizing. And I mean, just look at the amount of companies that are just replacing you with some H1B1 Indian. Like, just you have to try. And even I hear this from, I mean, you could talk to really anyone working a white collar job, and they know somebody or they've had to train their replacement from India. So, I mean, how are people supposed to even believe in these companies and what they're making when the company's clearly don't give a shit about him. They clearly do not care. It's like you are just here to work and be replaced. There's nothing there, that the sort of unity, and I think this is because of a mix like workplace, and both cultural and sexual, like mixed workplace, is that they're just the camaraderie just isn't there anymore in these big corporations. You just don't feel like you are valued at all. So I mean so in one way, like John below saying, like, hey, a lot of them are lazy. I'm sure there's plenty that are, but this is also an environmental issue too, where just people don't believe in the company.
Yes, we've lost these things. Anyway, that's even only one problem. I think it's the biggest problem now, but it's only one problem. There are lots of other problems. I'm just saying it's hard to hire people who are good. We do have people who are good right now. Okay, so I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying the number of people who are good is zero. I'm very happy with our team right now. It's actually, it's a good team. Almost everybody in the world would think we are insane. All right, let me tell.
And then he talks about how, like, they're making their own programming language. They're making a game as well. And he mentions, I'm not going to go into the further parts of the video, but I think it's a really interesting discussion from him, saying that there is just a general, like, rot in the industry, both, from the people that are coming in through, like, I don't even know, like, how these people get hired anymore. I think it's directly out of college, like, I don't know if it's like Full Sail or like some of these arts colleges, and you're hired on and you just sort of fall into the sort of malaise that affects a lot of this game industry. And in some ways, like, maybe the layoffs are a good thing. Maybe this is how it rights itself and, like, gets a sense of urgency. I think it is. I think it's fairly recent. This is the original video, is from 1 day ago. It's from the stream. I don't know if the stream was, I guess the content's unavailable. I don't know when the original video was, but it is, I think it is fairly current. But I mean, that the same issues that would be happening,
one of the,
like, right now, like, even if this was back from like 2024 or 2023, the same issues are happening today. Let's see, what's funny is Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan screaming about the same thing, and he won't get his HR under heel. That is one of the things, like, if people aren't allowed to be mean or, be strict, if you have to worry about people's, psyches, or, you're given the impossible task, like, you have to, like, force people to be productive, or, have some sense of urgency. But at the same time, you have to worry about being, like, appearing mean. Like, you can't be mean about it. Like, how do you do that? So, like, you're forced to, like, try and use, like, positive reinforcement or a bunch of bullshit like that. And I mean, I don't even know if you can be, like, mean too, because they're just not that same camaraderie, like I said, where that comes from, like, okay, I'm being harsh, but I'm being fair, and I'll still have your back. Like, that doesn't exist. Like, you can't be harsh to somebody in, like, it's impossible, like, do it in, like, a good way, or, like, proper way, as I'm trying to. If, like you want the best for them, you want them to succeed, when you don't, like, mean it, like, how do you do that as a boss nowadays, right? How many bosses would do that? Because, I mean, really, just the culture that I've seen, like, any corporate environment, is, like, just blame somebody else. It's always like nobody is going to stand up for you. No one's going to, take the bullet for you. Like, your boss isn't going to support you if something came up. And if they're not willing to do that, like, why would you even, take that crap from him? Of him trying to, like, say, hey, you got to get this done. You got to get this done. To be the sort of, like, leader these upper management need to be, it seems like it's almost impossible, and it's just not there in a lot of circumstances. But it was an interesting video, and probably one of the things that isn't discussed is like in the quality of video games, and not just like wokeness or corporate greed, but just the general work ethic of the teams that are putting these out. Because I mean, a lot of people don't consider that like these teams are teams. I don't know. Is it dumb to say like in like the sport sense, like a Michael Jordan, like Chicago Bulls type of thing? Sports. Am I bringing up sports ball here? But in the same way, that's how teams function. Like if you have a highly productive team, they make good stuff. But that is a team with these talents, and these like the programmers, the people that make this stuff, not just the director, are an important part of it. So if you don't have that, championship team, you're not going to make these amazing games. These sort of like legendary games like, Half-Life or, Diablo 2. They were like this because of their teams. And like those people just don't seem to be around anymore. They're driven out. Or, maybe they want to make like indie games like, Jonathan Blow here, where they have control. It's not some consensus driven like load of crap. So it's just an interesting thing to consider here. But let's move on. This was kind of interesting because this just came up. This is Retro Studio had some challenges making Metroid Prime Remastered. COVID, ice storms that left Retro without power there in Texas. That was from a while ago. Finding information from a 20-year-old database. Retro artists with backgrounds in stylized games. This person commenting like, we can't find artists with backgrounds in stylized game. A fucking grim, Jesus. I completely misinterpreted this. Rest of the exact opposite problem. They couldn't find people with realism expertise. That being said, the realism push, I think, was a mistake. It completely fucked the lighting engine. They should have lowered the graphical fidelity a bit. And the realism push basically screws over the wonder of the original. If they remaster Prime 2, I'm worried what the overworld would look like. Talon overall looks less alien planet and more jungle. So it's hard for even these studios that are famous to find the artists they need. And it's probably style it this so they had a harder time. You're right, I got baited. What the heck? I think so. I wonder what the article was. Studio Topographics, authentic original game. I've never played the remasters. I don't know if anyone else has. I enjoyed the first one in Metroid Prime. Oh, it's 4, right? Damn, I can't keep track. COVID pandemic, freak ice storms. I think they are in Texas. I could kind of remember those. What were they saying about this? As 3D renders for the game became more complex, it commented the entire to dedicate a real-time lighting and effects to leverage this then new switch in our team's capability. We really forced some key points, the essence of the original graphics. We made sure the vocal point shapes and player path were clearly defined. We also tried to distinguish the background, middle ground, and foreground from one to another to push depth into the scene. New visual effects and lighting advancements like volumetric fog and baked global illumination went a long way to hitting the above target. I wonder if that's kind of similar to like what we were discussing last week, where the Halo graphics have some issues with readability versus the new graphics. They kind of like everything blends together. But I haven't played the remaster, so I can't really say for sure which one's better or not. But I think the first one's plenty good. If you can, actually, I guess you probably can't play that. That's one of the issues with the remasters, is that if you're gonna have like, they're not going to release the game on like I think we still haven't gotten a GameCube a GameCube emulator yet, but the chance of them ever getting released on that when they have a remaster available isn't going to happen. And I think it's probably just better to play it on that. So this was another. Speaking of like people getting fired, which Jonathan Blow mentioned, Square Enix is getting rid of its Western devs. We are winning so hard. I hope they stop doing shit games like this and censoring their games. And this mentions Forspoken, Life is Strange kind of stuff. As this is Square Enix announced more layoffs as part of its U.S. and European restructuring. Nearly all areas of Square Enix business affected by the latest cuts, it tells staff. And here's this person, Jonathan Hinneke, Chief Publishing Officer and head of Western branch of Square Enix, officially resigned ahead of waves of layoffs. He responded, piss off to a concern of woke ideology in video games. Hinneke was the direct voice of the Western market to Japan. Worked closely at Japan as a senior leader. The Western publishing business interact directly with CEO and leadership in Japan to illustrate needs in the Western market. When AAA started pushing it, you're trying to piss off this. Some of this stuff, I wonder, like, is this really an issue? Like, when AAA starts pushing agenda, gamers don't want to see, they pay for it by not buying the game. Fire the long-term failing CEO and the staff embracing woke ideology. And then he responds, piss off. I mean, if you respond to the guy, I don't know if this is like in his post he made, like saying, hey, you should be fired. I mean, responding piss off, I don't know if this necessarily rude. I mean, yes, maybe it's rude, but I can kind of see it at some point. And here's Reverent. This is one of the thing. Is anti-woke framing Square Enix layoffs as a purging of woke employees when it's more likely just a pivot to AI slop. And if someone responded to this, like, we are winning so hard, like, is it really winning if you fire people just to replace them with AI? But Asmongold, I think, makes a pretty strong case that maybe it is.
Final Fantasy has a new lead translator, Paul Chandler. Thank you for your hard work for these past years, Kate. You didn't deserve the harassment Lama Todd and other idiots gave you. Can't wait to see what's coming next. And so basically, they replace this person, and Kate is the English localization manager for Dawn Trail. And so this basically is this woman. I mean, really is no surprise. This is her. And, she's going around talking about doing a purge for the
Would you rather have AI or her translating your game? I think I know which one I'd choose.
Confederacy, right? Or for people that she disagrees with publicly, right? And I think this is what people are really fed up with. They're fed up with liberal people feeling like they can just go out and just be openly advocating for violence and racism like it's just normal. Like I think that's what people are really tired of. Meanwhile, like people have been spending 5 years.
Like an AI isn't. It'll probably do a pretty crappy job and miss some of the nuance, but it's not going to turn like two like females that are like friends into lesbians. That's not going to happen. So I guess at this point they're so bad. They're so bad that people would take the
10 years getting fired for the same beliefs, right? The mentally ill. Yeah, I think people are just fucking tired of this, right? And so anyway, this girl goes out and says this. Obviously, a lot of people talk about it. I talk about it. Asmongold calls for Kate Conroy to be fired after reposting controversial political opinions. Asmongold calls for her to get fired 2 months ago, and she got fired. Why would you care someone's opinion on a game? Game dev you didn't even play. I think people just don't want to have people in positions of power, any sort of place inside of society, that are advocating for a purge of people that they disagree with politically, right?
Exactly. I mean, I don't want them anywhere near anything. I want the entire industry, them out of the entire industry. But I mean, this is kind of what they do. They're so prevalent. You can only really go to the sort of fringes at this point to get stuff that isn't infected by what they do. So I mean, maybe AI will help, but again, to really get the highest quality, you need people, competent people in there to do it. And maybe AI tools will help assist translators, so they can like, kind of look over to they can look and see, like, all right, this looks good. Maybe it helps, good people out and makes it more efficient so they don't need to hire people. That would be the best ending, but we'll see. I'm not as hopeful on some of this. But this was interesting, a really interesting case of censorship for Steam. So this is, I never heard of this game, Aftermath Red Pine Lake, but it is pretty bizarre, this whole story. This image is the reason our Steam page has not been approved. This image is now classed as too mature according to Steam. So we cannot have that page ready in time for the event and would need to censor our marketing screenshots. This is what censorship is coming to in the game industry. And we have to ask now, is it worth it for them to move the goalposts down the line? We could have it remade and hope they accept it, but where will it stop? We would need to redo the networking too. If we move platformers, do you really want a censored game? We don't. Anyone know of a platform they recommend or publishers that can handle mature content? Let us know. We are sorry about this. We worked hard to get something ready and we can't even share it. But we do have something that is playable and we will announce for Halloween. So this is the picture that was apparently too erotic, or they had too mature. And it's like a woman in a swimsuit, but it's not very reveal. I mean, it's like not really revealing. It's in a lake, Red Pine Lake. This looks like some like horror game. And it doesn't make sense. And this was a message from Steam. If you look long enough, I'm sure you'll find plenty of our partners who are breaking our rules and guidelines. Focusing the topic on the image of the woman's behind is indeed sexual in nature. Regardless of what she's wearing, your graphical assets can be viewed by everyone on the platform and should be appropriate for the store. Cheers. So this is like too inappropriate. And then, of course, they've obviously pointed out that there's, tons of smut on the Steam page right now. Sex with Hitler and Sex with Hitler 2 is available to be played on Steam. It just strikes me as odd. I didn't realize Steam had rules like this. I mean, this just doesn't seem sexual in nature. Barely. Just one of these things, like, I mean, maybe if it was more focused on it, but it's like kind of off the side. The swimsuit, I mean, it's obviously in context of her being in a lake. It just seems crazy to me. And then, I mean, you could have a thing like this, I guess, but I don't get it. It's crazy. And there are some people responding at, like Savvy and Chibi Reviews that are kind of doing stories on this. So, I mean, it might work out for them that they're going to get them free advertisement out of it, for their trouble. And that might, help sales. So it's probably, in the end, it'll probably work out for them more than it would before. But it is crazy. It is crazy. I did not realize they had rules like this. To me, that seems not really nuts. Just bizarre. I don't get what Steam is saying. Hey, good morning, Nuke. Always a good day when there's massive layoffs in the game industry. Absolutely. Square Enix definitely deserves it, because I don't think they've been putting out stuff that has been that great lately. At least new stuff. This was kind of an interesting story that I got from this guy that I used to work on, one of the old artists from the Super Nintendo days. The art I stole from Nintendo, a story about saving fan art that was about to be thrown away, sent to a gaming magazine. In Japan's fan magazine culture, there's an impression that submitted works are handled with care. Both show that gamers are a culture made with fans, right? Both show that games are a culture made with fans, right? I wonder how Nintendo Kids is doing it. And this is kind of an interesting story about Nintendo Power had a ton of fan art submitted to it, and this is like how he like basically stuff that was slated to be thrown out after Nintendo Power went away. He kept a lot of it and tried to save a lot of it, and has like some cool. And there's like artists that sort of started as kids making art like that. Eventually, like he returned some of them to these artists, that kind of like became big. And there's stuff that they saved and framed. It's pretty cool. Kind of a cool little article, but really kind of sad to see that all the fan art that kids sent in over the years to Nintendo Power just decided like, we're gonna trash it. It's not up in like Nintendo. It wasn't sent to like Nintendo Museum or like something in like Redmond. Nintendo America. A lot of it was just slated for the trash pile. That kind of shows what Nintendo thinks of its fans, to be honest. Not a good sign. Not a good sign, but a fun little article if you want to read it. It's The Art I Stole from Nintendo Life by Nathan Locker. And finally, some bad news for Nintendo as well. U.S. PTO Director Jonathan A. Squires ordered an ex parte reexamination of Nintendo's U.S. patent I'm not going to list all these numbers, issued in 2010, which covers mechanics for summoning a sub-character to battle in a manual or automatic modes. Announced on November 3rd, 2025, the self-initiated review targets the patent's independent claims, potentially invalidating the entire patent if prior art prevails. The decision follows intense scrutiny on Nintendo's enforcement actions against lawsuits against titles like Palworld amid concerns that the patent overreaches into basic game design elements. Should the patent fall, it could halt related litigation and signal stricter USPTO oversight on abstract gaming patents, fostering innovation for independent developers by challenging Nintendo's IP strategy. Nintendo has 2 months to respond. Outcomes may emerge in early 2026. So this could be great news for the industry and really bad news for Nintendo if, there are ongoing like lawsuits for Palworld. People are going back saying, wait a second, like maybe these patents are dumb. I really hope they all get thrown out, to be honest. I think patenting game design mechanics is, again, super anti-art, super dumb. Shouldn't have a place in the industry. I don't know why Nintendo does this stuff, but they're Japanese, and I think that's just part of their culture to do this kind of crap. They look at it like a business instead of an art, and I hope the U.S. Patent Office is going to strike it down, because I feel like, summoning a sub-character to battle in a manual or automatic modes, there's got to be other games like Monster Rancher or Digimon or all this other stuff that have done it before. The idea that Nintendo's like all of a sudden, Palworld, we don't like that, and like let's try and sue them for it, when they've sort of let all that other stuff go. And to be honest, they're probably not the first one to actually do it. So I have no idea how they're going to get away with it. Tactics was the Final Fantasy game in 2 years, and it's a remaster. Like that's so many things right now. It's like just nothing new from these people, are new or interesting from a lot of these franchises that are really exciting. This is like one of the things that I don't like about the anti-woke people. See if I can zoom this in, but it's like this, like I want sexy women too, but the way they focus in on it, like it's the cure for everything. It's like for gooners, and then it just lists like a bunch of metrics that don't really matter. Like, I mean, awesome. Like 10 million. So like Monster Hunter Wilds definitely had a lot of wokeness, modern audience bullshit in it. And then it's like gotcha game, so a demo, Overwatch clone, Overwatch, not already in development. What is this? Like, this is probably a gotcha game too. Or is this League of Legends? I have no idea what this is. It's like a more Chinese slop. And then it's like, yeah, all these games are failures and they suck, but there's never really a focus on good games. Like, is any good? Like, I know people like Stellar Blade, but I don't know if there's a single game up here that I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. Really, really great stuff. Like, Overwatch is probably the best game here. I haven't played Marvel Rivals, but it's probably good too. But it's like, even that is like, what? There's nothing new here. And this is the good. Like, if this is good, and this is bad, like, something's missing here. So there's definitely an element missing here, which is actual like quality, or like any sort of standard on quality, other than it has sexy girls in it. Because unfortunately, it seems like it's just like marketing at this point, to sell guys stuff that is kind of like subpar. I mean, no hate for Stellar Blade, but I'll have to play it sometime. But I don't feel like it's even that's going to be like super like, whoa, it revolutionized the industry. This was a kind of an interesting thing to lead us into like the game of the week. People yearn for the arcades. They just don't know it. Non-addictive games for 30 to 1 hour breaks. I need a game that's fun, but not too addictive. That makes me want to play for the entire day, like City Skylines or Civ 6, one more turn type of games. And this is true. Like, arcade games definitely have this, where it's not like meta progression. Hey, one more little thing I could do. And it just ends up becoming super addictive. Hey, pay some money, you can play a little more. Or even like stuff like Skylines or Civ 6 or like Minecraft can kind of get into that, hey, I can just do one more thing type of territory. With arcades, it's very cut and dry. Like, you get game over, you either beat it or you have a game over. Like, the session ends at a certain time limit, and it's usually like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And this is this guy Dan I don't know, Giesling. Can someone make a new action roguelike that you can beat on the first run based on skill and not meta progression? And this is a nice little like jab at sort of Vampire Survivors type of games, and a lot of the roguelikes where beating it on the first try is incredibly hard, and a lot of times you actually need the sort of power ups, that meta progressive power ups, in order to beat the game. Rebirth flopped and 16 was not so. I've heard some good things about 16, but I'm not really super interested in it because they went like more like an action game route that I don't think people liked. But speaking of arcade games, I'm going to switch over. I'm going to play a little bit. This was actually a really fun game, and I think it's still fairly cheap. I got it for like $2. It's called Fightin' Rage. Let's get this started. Let's play some video games here on this video game channel. Yeah. I mean, that's Hades, yep. It definitely makes sense. Let's see if we can get this going. I get to play this on my arcade stick too, which I like. Always enjoy playing on the arcade stick. Oh, wait, shit. One thing that annoys me is I need to unplug my PlayStation controller so my arcade stick will work. Like, otherwise it won't detect it. Oh, there we go. I mean, already it has cool rock music and it clearly has balls. Because you have like characters like this, just hit you in the face with. No, I don't want to continue. I love the style. The filter, like the CRT filter, is like whatever to me. It's like I don't like love it or hate it. It's like a classic beat 'em up, which I don't really have a lot of experience playing. But it is satisfying to beat the crap. I've been a little rusty. I've been playing some other games recently. Not that I was like super. I'm not claiming to be good at this game. It is quite challenging. I like how her tits just bounce as you walk forward. Pretty challenging because you have to. If you see it, they'll non-stop try and like gang up on you and get behind you. I'm not super good at comboing either. Sick power up here. You just like go nuts. Bash down this door. A very gritty feel to it. Oh, yeah, Streets of Rage, the OG. I've heard good things about the Streets of Rage 4, which chicken. The classic chicken from the oil drum. If you have a tracer. Fucking whip. It's like ridiculous. Also, like with the and like I listened to a developer interview. One of the things that like a lot of games are afraid to do nowadays is like actually let you combo bosses. You know, everything has to have like super armor. I think that's some people like to speculate, and it's probably true that in a lot of cases, you know, you have so many mechanics and combat systems that your character's just so strong that come on, bitch, you're so fast. That's almost impossible to like you have to have super armor, or your guy would just annihilate the boss. Like you could just cheese the living crap. You get access to like all of your powers. It's kind of like somebody made this case for like Final Fantasy. Like if like you could, if the boss wasn't immune to like every status effect, you could just cheese the living piss out of it. I like this. Like if you have like a knife, I think you can save her, but like it's pretty amazing. Like the game starts off with a guy slitting the throat. That's your introduction to the first boss of this game. It's pretty wild. Like I said, the game has some balls. You wouldn't normally see in a mainstream title. I like how he is that. He's got the sort of M. Bison slide. It kind of like looks like M. Bison. I mean, there's clearly like a lot of like love put into this. This is also like a 3-button game. I love 3-button games. It's like attack, jump, and special, which I haven't had to use. And then there's some story involved there. I think I'm trying to beat people up for some reason. I don't really care. I just want to beat them up. These pig enemies can always be annoying because my boomerang. I like to charge it. It's really annoying when this freaking Raquel here attacking it from behind too. With their whip. The whip wheels I hate. They're like one of the things I hate. Because one, they do a decent amount of damage. And they have such a long range. Their entire MO is all just get behind you. Oh, and they call you a loser. Fuck you, bitch. Losing now. Attacking it. Hate motorbike. One of the nice things is like when you have a bunch of enemies, you're gonna have these situations where everyone tries to like get around you and flank you. Doesn't really come up with like the normal sort of like fight a boss, got a big boss every day. Oh, damn it. The bike exploded. You really gotta... You don't deal with this stuff quickly, it gets out of hand pretty quickly. See, like I had a thing there. I should have eaten it earlier. I can combo my fifth somersault, but I'm not super good at it. These combos are pretty tough. I don't like the fact that I've already died. Not my best friend. Like these like gi wearing like big dog guys. Basically, they'll throw you if you get too close, and like they actually will block your hits. These cats, like you can't really stand up by them, or they'll like shock. They'll use like a Blanca like shock attack when they're getting up. Damn rats. Blocking like takes up your time when you're trying to. You really gotta like. It's like there's a bunch of these. See, like damn, I could have attacked that throw, but. Each hit is really, even if it's small, it's pretty devastating. Just death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. Hope I can find some. Try it again. One of the funny things about this guy is he'll actually he'll hit his own pistol. I think you can wall juggle these guys. Well, I was better at combat. I forgot about it. Fortunately, sometimes I go first row trying to do combo. Basic 5-hit combo. So I don't accidentally try to throw. Damn. The kills still turn sometimes. So I can't just necessarily At some point he does commit. I think this game's only like, I got it for like $2, which is kind of crazy. How cheap it is now. It's a ton of fun. The style is fantastic. This has a live. Probably don't use my special enough, like, because it does take the life. Well, actually, it doesn't. There's like a special system in this game where it doesn't take your life if you have your gauge full. It won't. There, I just used it instantly. Sometimes it's a lot better to use it than get like combo. Apple. I like how it says, "Yo, just yell." Even has like a parry system, a la Street Fighter 3. You hit forward at the right time with the hits, you can actually like parry it. Oh, I didn't parry it there. It's pretty tough. Sometimes these guys will drop, pigs will drop apples. Fucking wit. Dang. Need food. No food for me. This place is almost like too red. I do like the graphics though. The presentation's very nice. I see like that's the thing I was talking about where it lets you a shock. It's a pain in the ass. Ah, why'd I stay next to him again? I told him. I think I just warned. a lot kind of goes into learning how to do these enemies quickly. Half life. Even these rat guys, like, they're super easy to deal with on their own, but even if one hits you, it's total loss. So they're just so simple. Every bit of damage. Oh yes. It's too much. Oh, more happens. It's feast or famine with this. I guess we're on to the next boss. Human corpses. Kind of a creepy storyline where, like, these animal freaks, these mutants, are eating people. Kind of like evil sort of like Chinese guy with like claws. Like Ken Shir, like Fist of the North Star, like some like 80s like ninja, like crime. Oh, bastard. He's another one of those. You can't like stand next to him or like do a wake up move. Super annoying. I'll try and throw skilled guys at him. Eat that. Fucker. Oh, bastard. I got you close to him. You gotta like watch out for like multiple things. Gotta watch out for the people trying to kill me, and they keep if you're like too far away, then you goes out of your sight. And if you don't, if you're too close to him, he does some wake up move. On his own, he's not that hard. You know, as long as you can space it correctly, you can beat him up pretty easy. Then he sort of goes off screen. And like when his goons start showing up. I keep doing that. I want to get like aggressive, but wake up moves completely block that out. I think that should I don't know if that's RNG or that's like predetermined. Give you a knife at his ass. Like that. It's always fun that you can like cheese. I'd say call it cheese. Like you can use any tool you could use against a normal guy. You can use against lost some life here, but I think it's being comboed by that stupid throw. Ah, charge did not work. Got him. Still not that good at dealing with that guy yet. You can like combo it from your knee, I think. I just really need to learn how to do it. Like it was all done with like one button. And like, you know, combination like up and down. You double tap forward, you run. It's really interesting just how much you can sort of kind of fit in on one button. Like the fact that you can like have an entire like combo system, and like to grab people you just have to like run up to them. There's so many like one of the games I've been playing lately is called like Chrono Gear Word of Time. I mean, I like Galaxy Trails, but like I get kind of exhausted that every game nowadays has to have like shoulder buttons. Like every shoulder button's used, every face button's used. You have like an R3 nowadays. You have to use the R3 button too. Everything has so many. Like even you have to use combinations of both to get you know, certain mechanics. Like so many mechanics. You have to have a map to each thing. Like there can't be like context specific buttons. But by context specific I mean like in one case like my you know attack button does one thing, in another case the same button does something else. So if I hit like up or down in the attack button, I do a somersault. If I walk up towards, if I like run and then I haven't grabbed, then it does another, you know, it does a different attack. I hate these monkeys, these Jackie Chan monkeys. You can just do so much with it. There's no kick button, if I want to jump and kick, like if I hit jumping down, it does a different type of kick that I can combo into another kick. It's pretty deep. Yeah, you wouldn't think this one button is such a deep sort of combo system. I think you get points for comboing once you reach 50,000. Things go bad, they go bad. Give them like room to start doing their shit. It's bad real quick. Being like just outside hit me. You know you're gonna get fucked. again. No better. Sakurai would be proud, exactly. Sakurai does really like that kind of thing. Like if you watch, you can look at like what Kirby's Air Ride. He's doing so much with like just that one button. Actually, he had to add 2 buttons. He's acting like it was kind of a disappointment that they needed to add like a special button to it. I think that's really cool. That people are still willing to sort of do that for a game. I mean, it's getting, as I get older, like manipulating the shoulder buttons just seems like it's becoming more and more difficult. The hands are getting older. I don't know if it's really necessary, you know? I could have gone down there and fought. The boss down that hallway is pretty annoying. Single punch. Gonna mash it out of there. I had to stick my like pause button to one of my arcade sticks, or one of my four face buttons rather than the start button that's at the top. For some reason, the team doesn't like the register. I've had that happen with other games. Ninja moves. I don't think they can be grabbed. It's in my sword. Damn tree. Who's screwing at you? Didn't think that would hit. Super annoying, which I guess is very fitting for a fly. Certain enemies like that, like I always want to kill first, because they're just really good at ganging up on you and attacking you from behind. Kind of restricts your movements a bit. I don't pay attention enough to my special moves. I'm kind of like trying to learn other aspects of the game. My sword's gone. This guy doesn't. It doesn't seem super hard. I don't want to forget where it is. I think I can't see where it is. So I don't think I can. Foot Clan, wannabe Foot Clan members. Like several parries in there that I didn't even These guys can get really annoying. Like I said, like any little activity, like doing that, it just adds up so quickly. Random arrows. Like just like having one guy there makes it like considerably more difficult. Fuck you, Tiffany. What the mix? Go! The bird ninjas automatically like throw any of your attack any of your drills. They can't like just use the same combo you use for free single person. Just so much damage. Love it. Holy moly, this guy's weird. It's like a weird boss. It's like he's got imagine like, oh, super armor. This thing has a really defense. All it is this. It's like a kind of like a bonus boss. Bounce off of so much too. his attacks aren't really, dangerous. In the sense that, I guess they are. Like a quarter life. For 2 hits. After a while, like doing the same thing, I kind of get caught up in like, oh, I need to pay attention to who these things are. Just losing now. This asshole knocking you down. This entire stage sucks. You're stuck on this raft here, and then like you lose a ton of life if you fall off. So I think gimmicks that you do like one wrong move and you're off. You're off the raft. Bastard. No. It's so easy to lose your life here. It's like easy to kill them, but or if you do something like that, supplies are just like be like worse than no. Damn it. I can usually get there like wind up attack. I can't get there. I can't. That charge attack is it's hard to do it. Bounce off these guys if you hit the right buttons. I'm just not super good at it. And I just killed myself. I think both. You'd think so. No. It's a super fun game. It's Fight and Rage. But that's gonna be it for the podcast, guys. Super fun game. I hope I can, once I finish Chrono Gear Warden of Time, I'm definitely gonna play some more of this. Try and get a 1cc out of it, at least on normal. Who knows? Like, I haven't really gotten into fighting games, you know. So it's one of those things, one of those genres I'd like to kind of. Those like arcade genres that I'd like to get into more. But that is it. That is it for the podcast, fellas. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next week. Goodbye for now.